I'll be honest, I think this is the toughest floor in this cavern to get through without losing Pikmin. We have to fight another Empress Bulblax, and deal with a ton of Bulborb larvae, but first of all, we have to make our way to the opposite side of this floor, which is definitely easier said than done. Let's quickly hurry past here, like so, go over here, break this wall. The Pikmin should be safe as long as Olimar is over here, but this is definitely very scary. I didn't even take all of my Pikmin, which might backfire, actually. I'm actually wondering how the Bulborb larva AI works. So it does go to, like, the nearest group, which unfortunately is this one, meaning, yeah, we basically have to leave Olimar over here to take damage. We also can't, like, keep a close eye on all the Pikmin, which is also bad for another thing that happens in this fight, because this fight wasn't difficult enough as is. When the Empress Bulblax rolls, boulders start to fall. At the very least, it feels like boulders only fall in the actual, like, arena part, not near the landing area, so that's something that makes it a little bit more manageable. I actually wasn't aware of that. I kind of just found that out now, because I didn't have any success taking all of my Pikmin in one go over to the opposite side. So yeah, I do recommend not taking all the Pikmin in that case, because they will be safe over there. And yeah, leave a captain to distract the Bulborb larva, and then just try to deal as much damage as you can. One more cycle should be enough. I also recommend kind of crowding the Pikmin into this, like, area with the next entrance, because boulders tend to not fall over here, meaning you should be safe. But that should be it for this fight. We'll also swap over to Olimar to deal with some of the Bulborb larva before we worry about carrying this back. And with that, we are basically done with, in my opinion, probably the worst, or second worst at least, floor to get through without losing Pikmin. I actually think there is a floor that's worse, but this took me the most tries of any floor so far. I have lost count of how many times I've attempted this, which is why I had to readjust my strategy. And this is the favorite gyro block for 80 Pokos. I'm sensing a pattern, but yeah, when I tried to take all 100 Pikmin over, they get picked off really easily. So yeah, just leaving them, like, in the corner, and then having Olimar standing up here definitely worked out much better, and only taking the purple Pikmin. Again, I kind of assumed the boulders fell throughout the arena, which is why in the past I always did take all the Pikmin, but that was also on GameCube, where swarming is a lot easier, so that also made a difference. Sub-level 12 is, if I'm not mistaken, another rest floor, but unlike some of the previous ones, we actually do have a treasure. There are very few rest floors that actually do have treasure. This is one of them. The one with the Mamuta in the Frontier Cavern was one, and I think there was another one, but it's not... I'm having a hard time remembering which one it was, but I feel like there was a case of that. Oh, the shower room. The floor with all of these spectralids that had the leaf in it. So yeah, I think those are the only rest floors that have a treasure. And like a lot of the other rest floors, we do have a geyser over there. We also had a doodlebug. Again, we don't need more bitter sprays, and yet we're here. We might as well collect as many as we can. I'm also treading a little bit lightly because of more beetles. The glint beetles I'm not overly concerned about. It's the doodlebugs showing up out of nowhere that can definitely cause problems. We also have the radar starting to go off. So we might have to look around for a different kind of beetle as well in a moment. Over here we have a glint beetle, and this has the treasure as usual. For the most part, the glint beetles have treasure. I think we've only seen like one that just had like nectar on one of the previous rest floors in this very area. Also, by the way, the doodle bugs cannot poison the white Pikmin, only the other kinds of Pikmin, but again, it's a little bit harder to line up a direct throw with the white Pikmin than the purple Pikmin. This is the lost gyro block for 80 Pokos. So, I'm still taking the purple Pikmin just in case more beetles show up. It looks like we're good here, so let's see what lies ahead. Guess what? We have my third least favorite floor of this cavern over here. I almost feel like it's a little bit easier to get through here without losing tons of Pikmin, but this fight is also pretty bad. We have another man at legs. Hypothetically, you could fight this with purple Pikmin by basically whistling them across the water. I almost feel like you're intended to use blue Pikmin though, so we will be using blue Pikmin for this. I'm going to try something I saw in a tool-assisted speedrun, a technique to get through this fight a little bit more easily. I don't know if I'll be able to pull it off properly, but I'll try it. Basically, when it's about to shake off the Pikmin, you can actually petrify it like this to have an easy opportunity to deal a lot of damage. So yeah, we'll try to chip away as much of its health as possible, and then we have to make a run for it. These walls are also a lot lower than the ones in the subterranean complex as well. The Pikmin can actually run over them too, so be very careful when trying to like hide behind the wall, basically, because you can actually get the Pikmin in trouble there. Yet again, let's try to petrify it, and then round up the blue Pikmin and toss them up to the man at legs, almost down to a fourth of its health, which should mean we'll be able to finish it up on the next cycle if all goes well. I'm also noticing that the spicy spray wears off at different times for different Pikmin, which is interesting. This actually might take 2 cycles because of that, actually. Alright, good timing on that, and we're good. We even got a couple sprays back for that. We'll round up the president here in a moment and try to perform the glitch again, and this is almost back. For 80 Pokos, we have the memorable gyro block. There was a graphical glitch in that cutscene. It looked like the block spawned in the background for some reason, as like the cutscene was ending. I've actually never seen that happen before. It might have happened before and I just didn't notice, but yeah, that's the first time I've actually seen that. Alright, so yeah, let's perform the glitch. Again, we might as well, we're right here. So yeah, I feel like after a while you get really used to performing the glitch. The first couple times, never mind, I spoke too soon. Because like you only have like one movement speed, because in the original, pushing the control stick only moved the captain, and then pushing the control stick lightly moved the cursor. It can be very easy to overshoot and actually run into the spray at full tilt. But yeah, it's kind of a bit of a learning curve getting used to that. And we have another watery floor. This actually looks like where the Bulbaxes were in the Cavern of Chaos. Again, a lot of these areas kind of look very similar to the point of running together a lot, which is definitely why I feel like a lot of these caves do feel a little bit redundant at times, because so many of them like reuse like level layouts and like environmental details. Over here, we have the radar going off because we have, any moment now, where's the enemy? We have another Beady Longlegs, who for some reason was really not wanting to show up. This is actually a very good layout. Sometimes the Beady Longlegs likes to show up above water, which obviously makes this a lot more difficult. I'm going to try something here. As it leans down, I'm going to use a Bitter Spray, and we're going to toss the purple Pikmin up here. I want to see if that does more damage. Again, I'm actually experimenting a lot more because we have so many Bitter Sprays. Again, normally I would be a little bit more cautious with using them, but again, we have so many, I'm not concerned at all. Yeah, we still have 8. I think we only need 2 more for the rest of the game. So yeah, I definitely am okay with kind of burning through a lot of them. Luckily for us, the next treasure didn't land in the water either, so we can use the white Pikmin to very speedily carry it back and not have to worry about any of the surrounding Dweevils getting in the way. And we have the Fond Gyro block for 80 Pokos. Alright, that's everything on sub-level 14. We finally made it to the end of the Hole of Heroes, but obviously we're not quite done yet. We still have a boss to deal with, and one final treasure to collect here. First things first, we have this arena with a ton of jelly floats. I feel like it would be possible to defeat this boss without defeating all of the jelly floats, but this will definitely complicate things, so we will be defeating these first. In general, this fight is actually kind of weird because in a lot of ways, it's actually not the toughest thing in the Hole of Heroes. I say that, but also, I have completely lost count of how many attempts this boss fight has taken me so far. Because of like Pikmin not being fast enough to get out of the way of its attacks, basically. And part of the reason I've been having trouble with that is having to fight all of these jelly floats first, that will shake off Pikmin and cause them to lose flowers. So I actually might, if we lose flowers, I might try to get nectar first, because that definitely seems to be my problem with this fight. I don't think I actually showed this off in the previous cavern that we saw these in. But just to reiterate, the greater jelly floats can actually inhale captains, but that will actually weigh it down to the point where it'll drop, making it a lot more easy to attack directly with Pikmin rather than trying to like carefully aim throws. So yeah, I would recommend actually using the captains as decoys when fighting the greater jelly floats. It looks like we have one more jelly float over here to defeat. It's worth mentioning that you want to stay at the edges of the arena. You do not want to go into the center unless you're ready to actually fight the boss, because going into the center will activate the boss fight. Also, we have a bit of foreshadowing here. Also, we had some foreshadowing earlier because of some of the bosses we fought up to this point. Yeah, this is kind of like a boss rush, going through all the previous fights. I'm pretty sure the only bosses that don't show up again from previous caverns are like the giant bread bug, which was only in the Glutton's kitchen, and I think there's one other. Of course, the water wraith doesn't show up here, thankfully. Though to be fair, we are better equipped to actually handle that fight, so even if it did show up here, it actually wouldn't be a problem. Also, in terms of like field bosses, the ranging, or the wait, the Bloister does show up actually. I was thinking of the Toady Bloister, which has a treasure in the perplexing pool, but I guess wasn't actually like a boss, if that makes sense. So we have the Raging Longlegs. This is basically like a tougher version of the Beady Longlegs fight. In some ways, this fight is actually easier. In other ways, it's actually kind of annoying. What makes this fight so tricky is, one, its feet are so much bigger that it can very easily crush Pikmin. In addition to that, when it shakes off Pikmin, it will basically start raging, as its name implies, and start stomping around. Once it starts stomping around, you want to back off, usually, and then attack as soon as it stops, because then it'll return to its normal speed. We are using sprays to get through this fight a little bit more easily, because I've actually been having a lot of trouble with this fight off-screen, so just to be on the safe side, and since we have so many sprays to spare, but yeah, because I would have like a purple leaf Pikmin get like fall behind and get crushed. That's why I deliberately went and got all flowers for this fight. But after multiple attempts, we finally defeated this boss. And our treasure is actually slightly predictable based on some of the other treasures we've been finding up to this point within the Hole of Heroes. All of the last few parts, the gyro blocks and now this, are all themed after Rob, the robotic operating buddy that was an accessory for the NES. So yeah, another cool little throwback. This is the remembered old buddy for 250 Pokos. And with that, we have finally finished the Hole of Heroes. And we made it out of there without losing any Pikmin, and collected 2,200 Pokos along the way. So overall that went pretty well, other than the multiple resets from losing Pikmin. I'll be honest, I actually can't remember what was in the final recording and what was in like a failed attempt in terms of my commentary because of how many attempts certain floors took, specifically the Empress Ballplex floor and the final floor. So I wanted to mention again that yeah, we are breaking up the rest of the Wistful Wild across these this day and the next day because, yeah, we could easily reach the next cavern, but after that ordeal, I don't think I want to. Yeah, and I deliberately wanted to space everything out, give a little bit of breathing room, because, yeah, tackling a really long cavern and then tackling another really long cavern doesn't sound super appealing, if I'm being honest. So yeah, we'll tear down this wall, maybe tear down the other one on the other side, and then call it a day. There's 2 more treasures around this area, which we'll collect and then enter the final cavern. Something I was thinking about during the Raging Longlegs boss fight, or one of the attempts at least, something I think about a lot is how online discourse affects my opinion of games. And this is actually something I feel like I've talked about before with like Super Mario Sunshine, where that's a game where I grew up with it, I really loved it, but the overall reception of the game is a lot more lukewarm, especially in recent years. And Pikmin 2 definitely has that same dynamic, where I feel like at the time the reception was actually pretty positive, but nowadays when people play it for the first time, the reactions are largely mixed to negative, actually, partly because of like how poorly balanced a lot of the difficulty is. So it makes me reconsider like how I view this game at times, and in general, my opinion of the game has changed a little bit. I still like it a lot, in all fairness, but again, I do admit some of it is nostalgia, and a lot of it has to do with I'm not caught off guard as much as like a first-time player, because I have played this game so many times, and I would play it to the point where I basically just had a lot of things memorized, but you might have noticed even in this playthrough, there are things I've forgotten about, because there's so much to try to keep track of in this particular game. So yeah, it's been a very interesting experience to go back to. In general, my opinion is still relatively positive, but I definitely can see why this game is so polarizing. Again, some people really enjoy it, and I feel like it's people who grew up with this game who really enjoy it a lot, like me, and then people who try to play it for the first time, like in recent years, tend to have a much more negative reaction. But with that, we are almost done with the Wistful Wild, and with the game in general. We don't have much left. And then we'll move on to some other side content as well. So yeah, the Let's Play is actually far from over, even though tomorrow will actually be our last full day in the main story. So this will be very interesting. In total, we collected about 2,300 Pokos today. And we even managed to increase our numbers a bit. Of course, for all three types except the white Pikmin and purple Pikmin, where you have to use candy pop buds. Oh yeah, my allowance doubled, and it's all thanks to my papa. After all, he's a great captain. But when in the world will he be able to come home, huh? So yeah, there really isn't much left. But we still have quite a few challenges ahead of us. So thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for more Pikmin 2.